Hi, in this video we are going to discuss about the community application, and as part of this application we are going to support two workflows. We need to be able to create a community and add users to that particular community, and now the users who have been part of the community should be able to create posts which include text, images and videos. And the other users who are part of the same community should be able to interact with the posts of the other users with the help of like and comment functionality. Coming to the secondary workflow, the users who are part of same community should be able to communicate with each other with the help of direct messaging, or they can create something called as discussion groups wherein multiple users can do the conversation. The application should be designed with million users in mind and it should be scaled accordingly. Let's try to talk about the objective of this video first. In this video, we should be able to design and propose a suitable architecture of the system with high-level details of the components involved in building the complete system. We should also be able to comment on the data that we would store from data flow tier to master storage and also to the delivery tier, and how it has been interacted between the various subcomponents of the part of the architecture. Let's try to start with the functional and non-functional requirements of our application. In terms of functionality, our application is having post and chat functionality. As a part of the post functionality, the user should be able to create a community and add users to it. They should be able to create posts, interact or react to the post that has been already created, and the user who's present in a part of the community should be able to see all the posts that has been made in the community by other users. Now, coming to the chat functionality, the user should be able to directly message other users. They should be able to create discussion groups and also communicate with discussion groups to multiple users simultaneously. These are the functional requirements of our application, and let's try to understand the non-functional requirements where our application should focus on. Our application should be scalable as it is designed for millions of users in mind. As and when we add the number of resources, the performance of the system should be improved. When we talk about the performance or latency, the delays when the user is trying to post or when the user is trying to send the messages should be negligible. And eventual consistency is allowed in our application. Let's say there is a user A who has created an post and the number of likes at the current moment are 113. And let's say user B has liked the post which has been created by A and the number of likes has increased to 114. In the momentary time, the user C can see the number of likes as 113 and it is not a big issue. With time, the consistency will be obtained through the entire system. And also, with the general pattern in mind, our application is read heavy. The number of users who read and interact with the posts are more than the number of users who will be creating them. These are the functional and non-functional requirements. With that being said, let's jump into the design and architecture of our application. Let's try to see what are the generalized components of the streaming application. In a streaming application, we have divided the entire system into 5 different parts. First one is a data collection tier, wherein the data is scraped from the web, and also we get the data sometimes with the help of IoT sensors or user requests or web APIs. Once the data that has been collected is ingested into the data flow tier, which is done with the help of tools such as Kafka. The data flow tier actually manages the workload between the data collection tier and also the data processing tier. In data processing tier, which will be already subscribed to Kafka as a PubSub model, it reads the data when and where it is inserted to Kafka, and it performs the processing on top of it. We have different processing engines such as Spark, Hadoop, Flink, and Samza, and we can use something which is suiting our requirements. Now, finally, after processing, we can actually store the data, and for this we need persistent storage. For that, we can actually choose between the variety of tools that has been available. We have the tools such as the SQL databases or the relational databases, and also different NoSQL databases. Finally, the data that has been processed and stored has to be given to the user and that will be done with the help of data delivery tier. We can give with the help of a front end that is supporting the application, or we can actually show some analytics with the help of a dashboard that is designed in Tableau or Power BI. These are the major components that are involved in any streaming application, and all of them were actually specified here in terms of a single diagram. Now, this is a generalized architecture, and let's try to design and let's try to break the architecture into different components, and let's try to see what suits our application or what suits our need the most. Based upon the non-functional requirements, we have created the architecture of the community application that we are going to design. Let's say the users have been created and the communities have been created. Now the users are actively interacting with our application. Now the data source is going to be the user request. We have placed a load balancer, and this can be dynamic load balancer such as Kubernetes or Nginx, which tries to take the user request and then it tries to divide between the multiple community app instances that are running at the same time. Now, the requests that have been received so far will be forwarded to the data flow tier, and the data flow tier we have used in this case is Kafka. Kafka actually creates multiple topics such as user profile, community, post, and chats. Based upon the request that has been obtained to Kafka, it will store into the respective topic. Now, the processing system, which has already subscribed to a specific topic, will try to take the message that has been inserted in Kafka and extract it and process the data. After the data processing has happened, it will try to actually put the processed result as form of an insight or analytics in the help of a dashboard. In the other workflow, we will try to take the data, extract the data from the Kafka, send it to a data lake where the data is actually the raw data. We kind of process it and store it into our main persistent database, which is Cassandra. Here, we are making use of a key value store, which is called as Redis, which can actually assist as a catch to the existing database. When a particular user is trying to request some information, it will first search in Redis. If it is available, that will be returned to the user. If it is not available, it will go back to Cassandra, put it back in Redis, and from Redis, it will be returned to the user. This results in the enhanced performance to a particular user who is using the application. We have actually created the two architecture diagrams of the same workflow so that it will be easy for anyone to understand. Now, let's talk a bit about why we have chosen some specific databases such as Cassandra or Redis. If we look at the Cassandra database, it is highly available and it is scalable. It also supports very vast amount of data when the data is actually limited to a limited set of attributes and we have a small set of queries. Cassandra is very helpful and it is highly available. So we have chosen Cassandra as our primary database, and to make our application faster and to increase the performance and make it smooth, we have placed a key value store, which is Redis, on top of Cassandra, which supports the user requests. We have already discussed the flow of the architecture diagram from where the data enters and what happens when the data reaches the final application or when the data needs to end up in the dashboard. Here, we have talked about all the requirements coming to the data storage part. We should be able to create a community, add people to the community. We should be able to add post, and the post may contain all of this and some other general rules for creating the post. We should be able to create discussion groups and allow direct messaging as well. We have written the assumptions that we have taken to design this particular database or the architecture. We have, for the sake of simplicity of the application, we have omitted fields such as the entry and exit time when the users have entered into the system, when the users are going to leave the system, and things like that. We don't support the deletion of messages or posts in our application. And also, the other assumptions that we have taken are mentioned at the table level. So we have listed down all the tables that are required for our application, starting with the community table. What are the various attributes that are part of this particular table, and followed by the user table, post table, what are the messages and what are the attributes that we are going to store when we need to talk about messages, the creation of discussion group, the messages that have been created as part of the discussion groups. And also we have listed down all the possible APIs that we will expose initially to the end user so that they can actually work with things which can be connected to front end while designing an application. And the interaction between various components and the data flow between various tiers have been talked in detail previously. Thank you.